Hello guys, welcome to Washer Lab. Today we're doing a review on the Inglis ITW4671EW0. Today we're going to be going through the features, the pros, and the cons, and what I'd recommend if Whirlpool were to build a washer like this again. Let's start off with the features. Well, I believe this is a 3.5, maybe a 4 cubic foot drum. Doesn't really matter with that agitator, but I'll get into that later. You could fit a decent sized load of laundry in here. We have a family of 4, but my dad's only home once every 3 weeks for a week because he works out in a mine. Alright, sorry about the interruption. Somebody's just coming downstairs. And my sister washes her clothes separately. Well, actually, I wash her clothes separately because she doesn't know how to do her own damn laundry. So it's really only me and my mom. Until recently I developed a skin allergy, so now it's just we're all doing our laundry separately. Yes, flame me in the comments, but I have to use baby laundry detergent. I know, it's embarrassing. But back to the point before I get on a rant. It does have a bleach dispenser, and it's not one that injects water and mixes it in. It funnels through the side in between the spin basket and the outer drum, and as the washer drum fills with water, it just dilutes the water with the bleach. Also down here, we have our HE sticker, or high efficiency sticker, our made in America, which I it might be. And we have a kind of a skinny lid latch, also matching the skinny striker. But we look up here, and we see a cycle diagram. I don't know what's banging into there, but it's pissing me off. And it'll go through all the cycles, and now they say this washer has a lot more cycles than it does. It calls normal, casual, wrinkle control, and cold wash. I can see that. I would say normal and wrinkle control would essentially be the same settings, except wrinkle control would use warm water and light soil, and cold wash would just be regular but cold. But they call this is what pisses me off. They call deep water wash whites, heavy duty, power wash, super wash, and deep water wash. Sure. And they call bulky items just kind of bulky sheets, delicates, and hand wash. And the actual casual cycle is called express wash. Why it's called that, I don't know. Now this is a loading diagram of how much you can load per cycle, which is you can load probably half of the drum for normal cycle for best cleaning results, 3/4 of the drum or 2/3 of the drum for deep water wash, a full load for bulky, about 1/4 of a load for delicates, and a small load, probably just a small load of shirts or a small load of pants, or just a few days worth of clothes in the quick wash. And now for normal, it's going to use about that much water. That is deep water wash. That is bulky items. That's delicates, which uses a surprising amount of water. And that is the casual quick wash cycle. Now, this is going to be the best use of, the cycle is going to work the best in this type of water temperature over here. So on quick wash, it says warm is going to be the best type of water temperature that this cycle will work best in. Delicates, cool, not cold, not warm, cool. Bulky items, it says hot. Deep water wash, it says hot. And normal, casual, or normal, it says cool as well. So I'm not really seeing any cold or tap cold. But also, it says here, beside normal, except cold wash water temp, which is for the cold wash part of this normal cycle. Now, the load description, essentially, this will give you the best, this will tell you what this cycle will clean the best: cottons and linens, t-shirts, blouses, another t-shirts, and however you say that. For deep water wash, it's saying mixed loads like pants, jeans, towels. For bulky items, it's saying larger a bulky item, so sheets, coats, comforters, or drapes, like curtains. For delicates, it's saying all the delicates will wash all fabric types. And for quick wash, it also says all. And then for the soil level selector, it essentially just increases or decreases the amount of agitation time for any cycle you choose. This is the recommended soil level for each cycle: normal, medium, deep water wash, heavy, bulky, medium, Delicate's light and Quick Wash light. And that's really, this is all French and stuff, so I'm not worried about that. Now, this is the temperature water selector. Obviously decreases or increases the maximum target water temperature for any cycle. We close this. For now, again, I already went over this. We got the 6 LEDs, sensing, fill, wash, rinse, final spin, cycle complete, and the lid lock. Now, the start, pause, cancel says hold for 3 seconds. It's kind of a lie. You have to hold it for about 7 seconds, I find, for the washer to fully cancel. And also, you'll notice that you can push it in all the way. You can push it in, and if you back off just slightly, you can actually feel it engage with the button. It's weird. But all in all, you know, it's got a little scratch here. I don't even think that's a scratch. I just think that's a stain. Okay, sorry for the interruption again. People keep coming downstairs, keep telling them to go away. But as you can see, this really isn't, this might be a scratch right here. This is just, I bet you I could get that off with some soap. It does have a dent in the side. Yeah, you can't really see it, but it does. And also I find the screws on the back, they back out, and then this back control panel cover here likes to make some noise while spinning and vibrating. Okay, now let's go into the pros with this washer. And you know, there's not many of them, but there are definitely some. One of them is hot, is really, really hot. Like, hot is pretty goddamn hot. I think I watched this thing fill on bulky all the way with hot, and then at the last for about 15 seconds filled with cold, and that was it. That was all the cold it added. Also, the cycle times on this thing. You can set it to heavy, bulky, and tap cold. That is the slowest way this washing machine will fill. Our cold water pressure here sucks doo-doo. And this thing does not take long to finish it either. I think it finishes a heavy, tap, cold, bulky items cycle in about an hour and 15 minutes. Which really isn't bad for the cold water pressure we get here, because that sucks. Now remember this thing being new and it would spin every load. That's not really the case for it now, but when they're new, they will spin. And they will spin everything you fucking put at them. And well, that's about where the pros end. Let's start with the cons. I'm gonna say this again. This skinny freaking lid latch over here, that's not really a lock-in anything. This thing just kind of slips backwards a little bit. This thing goes like this. I don't think it should do that. It even has a magnet in it. If you're lucky, it'll stick. But my point is that this is a very poorly built lid lock system. Another thing is the agitator. I actually have a measuring tape here specifically to measure how big the fins are. So I'm gonna get the fins at the bottom from their lowest and tallest point, and I'll get back to you. Okay, the fins at the lowest part over here are about 1/2 inch, and the fins at the highest part are about 3 inches. But keep in mind, okay, I'm gonna have to explain to you guys what HE washers have progressed through the years to get this kind of making sense here. Back in like 2011, when the government really realized that climate change was a really pressing issue, they cracked right down on water and electricity usage. What was something that used a lot of water? Well, a washing machine. It used like 40 gallons of water a cycle on a full load. So what did they do? They went way overboard and like made this machine use little to no water. In fact, on the normal cycle, it only fills to about the top of the fins. That's not enough water if you load the washer to the top. So my suggestion to you is that what I do is I only load it about halfway. I have this Tide dispenser, like detergent over here. I fill it with water. I dump it on the clothes get wet. And obviously the wetter they are, the heavier they are. The washer detects, oh, I have a lot more clothes on me than I do. It fills up more, but then you kind of cheat the system. But like, you shouldn't have to do that. Well, people stopped buying high efficiency washers, and then the government realized, oh, I went a little bit overboard. Let's back it up. Let's let the washers use a little more water. This is right around the time about 2016, 2015, 2016. Some 2013 models of Samsung liked to use water. Actually, I did an overload test on one and it filled right to the top. And it was a 2014 or 2015. And then once they did that, they realized, oh shit, climate change is coming back again. We gotta really crack down. And that's when you see the washers that we've had since about 2020 to today. Actually, it's been earlier than 2020. I think it was about 2017 when they started not using water again. Also, I've noticed that because the water gets so hot in here, it steams a lot, and they didn't add really any vents for the steam to vent out in other than the gap between the handle of the lid and the port, I guess. So I'm noticing under here is a lot of rust. I'm surprised the door hasn't rusted yet, but I've been in this washer and there is a lot of rust, more rust than there should be. Now, I was mentioning this before about the spin speed. It only spins at about 700 RPMs. Now, the reason I want the washer that I plan on, I think we're getting the WM8900, is because it spins at 1300 RPMs. Now, the faster the spin speed, the less work the dryer has to do. The less work the dryer has to do, the less energy is going to be spent. That's just good all around. Even when we get the 8900, I'm going to be getting a Panda spinner with it, and it spins at 3200 RPMs. That's like 52.3 or 8 RPMs a second. That means it's spinning 52 times a second at full speed. At least I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Now, over the years, this washer is kind of like coming with some issues. The door is kind of all wheelie. Also, I've noticed that when they design the door, a lot of dirt gets trapped under here, and it ends up smelling bad because it's like hair and dirt and mud and grease. I've also noticed that when they put the cap on this washer, oh god, let me get the cap off. Alright, well, it's being a stubborn little piece of shit and it won't come off. But a lot of dirt also gets trapped in there, and as you can see, it is compatible with fabric softener dispensers. I don't like fabric softener. I never really have. I don't plan on using it, but you get the gist. Also, you know, down here, I've greased these hinges or this metal piece now multiple times because, well, you used to lean on the washer and it would make a really weird squeaking noise, and then it got so bad that when the washer would spin, it would actually make that noise, and it would get really, really loud, so loud you could actually hear it through the floor, and we have a solid wood floor, and that means it's probably louder than it should be. Keep in mind, these washers really aren't that quiet to begin with. They are pretty loud machines, and you usually can hear them through the wood floor, but this was making a almost squeaky sound, but it wasn't quite squeak. Wish I had a video of it, but I do not. This isn't really a con, but over the years I've also noticed that there's some chipping now in the tub. I can't really control this stuff, but I guess, oh well. And I guess that's where the cons end. I have my own cons for this washing machine, but it all involves stuff that, well, I guess just broke over the years, and it's bound to happen. It's, I believe, 6 or 9 years old. I do not mean that in the pun way. Don't take it that way. I can't even say it without making a meme. God damn it. It's either 6 through 10 years old, and I don't really know how exactly old it is. I wish my camera would stop doing that. It's an auto bright thing, but whatever. Now, if I were Whirlpool, when I built this washer, I would add a dual action. This is my recommendations. Put a dual action in it, a better bearing system, a better suspension system. I hate floating suspension. I really don't want to have to do that. There is actually some cracking, I forgot to mention this, on the tub ring. I'd put a better tub ring on it because this is just thin, cheap plastic. And I'd put a bigger motor on it, just so it can spin faster. But all in all, that's about it. Next video you're going to see is a review on this Maytag dryer. Well, actually, this is the second Maytag dryer this house has had, at least for us. The other one, the motor went, and the belt went, and the rollers went, which is also what's happening to this thing. And it was just not worth fixing. So, Anyways, next video you're going to see on this Maytag dryer. This video was about the Inglis. See y'all later. Hope you have a good day. Thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It would be very greatly appreciated. Thank you.